Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and Moira got a brand new orb ability called her Necrotic Orb, and this thing is really good because it weakens the enemy and reduces their damage by 75%, meaning that some ultimates are, well, let's just say some of them become a little bit useless. So today, we're gonna put her brand new Necrotic Orb to the test by splashing it on every single hero and seeing which ultimates you can survive. The first hero up that's already been shown is D.va, and while you can survive the D.va bomb from about 5 meters away, if you stand directly next to it, you will still take all the damage from the D.va bomb and instantly die. Doomfist's ultimate is very interesting because no matter where you stand in his ultimate radius, you take the same amount of damage whether you weaken him or not, and it's because he wipes away the weaken effect any single time he launches himself in the air. Orisa's ultimate is probably one of the best and easiest ultimate to cockblock because even a fully charged Orisa ultimate, you just have to splash it once at any given time during the ultimate and you survive. The Jungle Queen's ultimate, I mean, of course you're gonna survive because it doesn't kill you to begin with. Reinhardt's ultimate is another huge one that you can survive even if you stand directly underneath his hammer. It's kind of unfair to say you survive Roadhog's ultimate because you get pushed back so far away, just like my ex-girlfriend did with me, but you do survive Roadhog's hook and 3 extra shots on top of that. Sigma's ultimate is basically just a tickle fest, just like what I want to do to his feet. I mean, what? And just like Roadhog, you survive Winston's ultimate unless you get completely CC'd off the map, which is probably what's gonna happen no matter if you weaken him or not. Hammond's is another huge ultimate that you cockblock because whether you weaken him before or after he activates his mines, you are able to survive 6 total Hammond mines before you die. Now, I know this might come to a surprise to you, but you survive Zarya's ultimate as well. Ashe's ultimate is a little bit different compared to the other ults because if you weaken Ashe before she calls him Bob, Bob is gonna do the same amount of damage. However, if you weaken Bob when he's charging you, he's then gonna be weakened himself and he's gonna do less damage. Bastion, I didn't see any notable differences, surprisingly. Now, I did weaken him as soon as he shot his military strike and I survived 2 and I died in 3, but then I weakened him before he shot his military strike and I still survived 2 and died in 3. Cole's ultimate is very weird whenever you talk about weakening. So if you high noon and then you're weakened, you still have the full amount of damage of a fully charged shot. However, if you're weakened and then you high noon, a fully charged shot is gonna do like tickle damage. So for Echo's ultimate, I mean, clearly it depends on what hero she decides to copy, but for Moira, you don't survive the Moira ultimate, but you can withstand a good amount of damage. Genji mains, please look away, because if you're weakened by Moira's orb, she can survive 4 total swings before she actually dies. Hanzo's ultimate was the hardest to test out, so obviously you can survive the arrow that is used for the dragon, but when it comes to the dragon's damage, if you stand in the dragons the whole entire time, you're still gonna die as Moira, but you will take significantly less damage if you weaken him before he calls in the dragons. Once the dragons appear and then you weaken him, it doesn't matter, the dragons are still gonna do the same amount of damage. Junkrat is especially confusing because you have to weaken Junkrat before he uses his Riptire for you to survive the Riptire, which is crazy in itself, but if you weaken the Riptire, you still die by it, and that's weird considering that that's the complete opposite of how Ashe and Bob works. Now, we obviously knew that you could survive Mei's ultimate, but what you can also survive is Mei's ultimate plus 3 icicle headshots. That's insane. You just barely die by Pharah's ultimate, like 1 less second and you'd be able to survive it. Reaper's ultimate is just so sad, man, because you don't die by his ultimate, whether you weaken him before he uses his ultimate or during his ultimate. So while you can't survive the whole duration of Soldier 76's tactical visor, you are able to survive a whole entire clip before he reloads and then kills you. So weakening Soldier's ultimate is pretty good because you're able to survive 2 railgun headshots before you die to the 3rd one, and you're able to survive 3 railgun body shots before you die by the 4th one. And it doesn't matter if you weaken her before or after she uses her ultimate. So obviously Sombra's EMP doesn't kill anybody, but you do get extra bonus damage whenever you hack somebody, but it doesn't really matter because you don't survive headshots or body shots when hacked by Sombra. Symmetra's ultimate clearly doesn't do any damage, but I decided to test this out on her sentries, and it seems like whether Symmetra's weakened before or after, the sentries are completely unaffected by the weaken. So while you can't survive the whole duration of Torbjorn's lava, you're still able to survive a good amount of damage before you realize, hey, I'm burning by this lava, let me move. And what's interesting is whether you weaken him before or after he splooges his lava, the lava still has reduced damage. And for some quick funsies, I want to test if his turret gets weakened, and it doesn't, making this whole thing even more confusing. You are able to survive a whole Tracer pulse bomb whether you weaken her before or after she activates the pulse bomb. Widowmaker's ultimate doesn't do damage, but you are able to survive 2 fully charged headshots before dying by the 3rd one, and you are able to survive 3 fully charged body shots before dying by the 4th one. So while Ana's ultimate doesn't do any damage, while weakened, her regular shots barely do any either, because you're able to survive a total of 7 whole Ana shots. Baptiste's is not all that noticeable, so I weakened him before he activated his ultimate, and I still died relatively quickly, but then after he activates his ultimate, I still died relatively quickly. Brigitte's ultimate doesn't do any damage, and neither does her flare whenever she's weakened. It's basically one of those inflatable hammers that she just keeps knocking me with. I don't survive, but still doesn't do a lot of damage to begin with. Obviously, for supports, it's not gonna be a lot of damage dealing ultimates, but for Lucio, you're almost able to survive a whole entire clip from him of headshots. When it comes to body shots and he's weakened, you're able to survive a whole clip easily. For Mercy, just like Lucio, you're almost able to survive a whole entire clip of headshots from Mercy. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering where you can survive whenever you weaken a Moira because, well, this is a Moira focused video, and you're not able to survive a whole entire Moira's ultimate even if they are weakened, but I want to test another thing out, and I want to see, well, what happens if you weaken both Moiras in a 1v1, and it takes a very long time for both of you to die, but I want to also test out, well, what happens if you weaken each other while ulting each other, and and you're both able to survive each other's ultimate, which is just funny to me. I don't know why. And Transcendence for Zenyatta doesn't do any damage, but you are able to survive 7 headshots with a Discord Orb applied. And with a Discord Orb applied but weakened as Zenyatta, you're able to survive 11 total body shots. 11 total body shots. My God. But now comes the best part, totaling how many ultimates Moira gets the cock block. And there's a total of 23 ultimates, where about half of them aren't even damage dealing ultimates. Now there are 7 ultimates that you truly can counter with the new orb as Moira. Heroes like Reinhardt or Tracer, yeah, you couldn't have done that before the Necrotic Orb. But there's also 3 ultimates that, depending on when you use the orb, that can also counter them, specifically with Junkrat, Cassidy, and technically Echo, depending on what hero they decide to copy. But even still, to have the opportunity to fully counter 12 ultimates with one single ability, that's pretty good and a little bit OP. But I do want to stress that this was like a perfect scenario that was simulated. Everyone's standing still, allowing me to easily hit them with my Necrotic Orb. Plus, I was able to easily time it because I knew when the ultimate was coming. Like Tracer is a perfect example of someone that you're probably not going to actually counter. Yeah, you might get lucky with a few Necrotic Orbs and they might not realize that they're weakened and then pulse bomb you. But then again, you have to think, well, if you get pulse bombed, just fade out of there and you easily counter the Tracer pulse bomb. So it's not like the Necrotic Orb is overly overpowered when it comes to Tracer, but maybe for heroes that have long ultimates like Hammond or Genji or Reaper that are relatively easy to hit, the Necrotic Orb will be a really good ability to try to counter their ultimate with. But then you also have to remember, we'll just fade away from the Genji. So the way that I see the Necrotic Orb is an instance like with Reaper or Orisa, yeah, that's supposed to counter their ultimate. But I think the true value would just come from the everyday damage and you weakening someone like Soldier 76. Not even just when he's ulting, just when he's doing regular damage. But we'll just have to see. I want to know what you think about this new ability. Do you think they should nerf it? Do you think they should buff it? Do you think they should leave it the same? I mean, they're going to have a whole entire off season to work on it, and it's probably going to be in Overwatch 2. But until then, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch and Overwatch 2 videos to come, and bye.